Once upon a time, a drop of sunlight fell to earth, and from it grew a magical golden flower, capable of healing the sick and wounded. Remember this elderly woman you're seeing, keep her in mind. Many years passed, and a kingdom was established on an island in the ocean. This kingdom was ruled by a kind king and queen. In time, the queen was expecting a child but fell gravely ill. In search of a cure, the people of the kingdom scoured every corner, eventually discovering the magical golden flower. Remember, I asked you to remember the elderly woman? She was a sorceress who, for years, had kept this magical flower hidden to preserve her youth by singing to it. Guards found it and took to the kingdom. When the golden flower healed the queen, she gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby girl named Rapunzel. In celebration of Rapunzel's birth, the king and queen released lanterns into the sky. But that night, the sorceress arrived at the palace, intent on using Rapunzel's magical hair to retain her youth. She discovered that by cutting a piece of Rapunzel's hair, it would lose its magic, so instead, she kidnapped Rapunzel and hid her away in a secluded tower. Despite the kingdom's thorough search, no one could locate Rapunzel, as the tower was hidden deep within a dense forest. The sorceress raised Rapunzel in isolation, convincing her that the outside world was filled with selfish, wicked people, and forbidding her from leaving the tower. Young Rapunzel, knowing no different, believed that the sorceress was her true mother. Despite her secluded life, Rapunzel's curiosity grew every year, especially as she saw lanterns filling the sky on her birthday. She believed these lights were a celebration of her birthday, though she didn't know the true meaning behind them. This little chameleon is Pascal, Rapunzel's only companion. As Rapunzel grew up, she kept herself busy inside the tower, filling her time with activities and playing with Pascal. One of her favorite pastimes was painting. She even painted the floating lights she saw each year on her birthday across her tower's walls. Meanwhile, a three of thieves sneaked into the kingdom and stole the royal crown. However, when guards spotted them, they gave chase. Returning to the tower, the sorceress called out for Rapunzel to lower her hair, which she did, allowing the sorceress to climb up to the tower. Rapunzel nervously asked if she could leave the tower just for her birthday, but the sorceress dismissed her request, saying that the outside world was far too dangerous for someone as precious as her. Instead, Rapunzel tried to convince her mother to let her go see the floating lights that appeared every year on her birthday. She thought these lights were somehow connected to her, a belief that the sorceress quickly brushed off, warning Rapunzel of the selfish, wicked people outside. At the same time, posters are put up to catch the three thieves who stole the crown. Among these thieves is another main character in this story, named Flynn. Now, the guards are searching for their hideout. So, as the three thieves run through a dense forest, they end up getting stuck at one point. This is when Flynn, using his cunning, deceives the other two thieves he's with, steals the crown, and escapes on his own. However, the guards don't stop chasing him. But there's someone even more skilled than the guards, a palace horse. This horse, named Maximus, confronts Flynn alone and tries his best to retrieve the crown. However, due to their struggle, the crown gets tangled on a tree branch at the edge of a cliff. Despite that, the two don't stop fighting. They continue their struggle up the tree to reach the crown, but in the process, the tree breaks, causing both of them to fall down the cliff. Even after this, the horse, Maximus, doesn't give up on his pursuit. Like a dog tracking its prey, he begins searching for Flynn. Flynn, needing to escape the persistent horse, finds a nearby cave and hides inside. When he looks around, he notices a secluded tower beyond the cave. Climbing to the top, he barely has a moment to examine his stolen crown when Rapunzel sneaks up behind him and hits him over the head with a frying pan. Having never seen another person before, Rapunzel is understandably terrified. She drags the unconscious Flynn across the room and locks him in a closet, reinforcing the door with a chair. Staring into the mirror with excitement, she feels triumphant, thinking that if she can show him to Mother God Hell, she might finally be allowed to leave the tower. Curiously, Rapunzel takes out the crown from Flynn's bag, not knowing exactly what it is, and tries it on, admiring herself. At that moment, Mother God Hell arrives and uses Rapunzel's hair to climb up to the tower. Rapunzel doesn't tell her outright about Flynn, but says, "You think I can't take care of myself, don't you?" As she tries to explain, Mother God Hell assumes Rapunzel just wants permission to leave and scolds her harshly. Deciding not to tell her about Flynn, Rapunzel instead asks about the floating lights she desperately wants to see. She conceals her plans by saying she needs a special type of paint Mother God Hell had once given her, knowing it will take Gothel 3 days to retrieve it. Oblivious to the real reason, Mother Gothel agrees and leaves to get the paint. When Flynn wakes up and realizes the true length of Rapunzel's hair, he's shocked. Rapunzel then asks him, "How did you find this place? Who told you about me?" Seeing a beautiful girl with such long hair, Flynn starts to sweet-talk her. However, since Rapunzel knows nothing about these things, she wonders if he's a bit crazy. Flynn explains, saying, "I got lost in the forest, and then I saw this tower, so I came here." When she asks about the crown, he replies that he had it with him. Rapunzel tells him, "I hid the crown, and you'll never find it." Flynn looks around and asks, "Did you hide it in that vase over there?" Rapunzel is surprised, grabs the crown, and hides it again. She then asks, "Did you come here to cut or sell my hair?" Flynn replies, "I don't want your hair. I just want to get away from it." After hearing this, Rapunzel starts to believe his story a little, shows him her drawing of the lights, and asks, "What are these?" Flynn responds, "The lanterns that bring back memories for the lost princess." Rapunzel, realizing her dream might be true, says, "If you take me to see the lanterns and bring me back safely, I'll give you the crown." They make a deal, although Flynn is hesitant since he knows the guards are after him. But he agrees reluctantly, knowing he needs the crown. For the first time in her life, Rapunzel steps outside the tower. Overjoyed, she begins singing and rolling in the grass. Then she remembers her mother and feels sad. But after a moment, she is happy again, and this back and forth continues. Flynn, seeing an opportunity, tries to convince her to return to the tower, saying, "You'll hurt your mother's feelings. Let's go back." But Rapunzel insists, "I need to see those lights." Meanwhile, Maximus sees a wanted poster of Flynn and gets furious. Hearing footsteps approaching, he hides and prepares to confront the newcomer. To his surprise, it's the witch, which realizing the royal horse here along without the guards. She quickly rushes toward the tower, only to find Rapunzel missing. Panicked, she searches the room and eventually finds the crown and Flynn's poster. Elsewhere, Flynn and Rapunzel stop at a tavern filled with dangerous-looking people, making Rapunzel uneasy. Flynn planned to scare her into returning to the tower, but the plan backfires when someone recognizes Flynn as a wanted criminal and sends for the guards. Rapunzel tries to stop the chaos, but nobody listens. Desperate, she shouts, "Please stop. I'm here because my only dream is to see the lanterns. He's the only one who can help me. You guys don't have any dreams?" One of the men approaches her, showing kindness, and begins playing the piano, saying, "I love playing." Inspired by this, everyone in the tavern starts sharing their dreams, even dancing like children. Just then, the guards arrive, prompting one of the men to reveal a secret exit for Rapunzel and Flynn to escape. At that moment, Maximus arrives at the scene, acting like a stubborn dog, and eventually discovers the secret exit they escaped through. Now, one guard is told to keep an eye on the two thieves while the others head out through the secret door. But the two thieves knock down the one who was guarding them and also manage to escape. Then, the sorceress intimidates someone who is there to find out where the tunnel ends. As they make their way through the tunnel, the guards get close to catching them. So, they quickly run outside, where the two thieves also arrive, trying to capture Flynn. At that moment, Rapunzel jumps to the other side using her hair, and Flynn starts fighting the guards with the frying pan he has. Because of this commotion, a nearby wall breaks, and the two of them get trapped inside a small cave. Water starts flooding into the cave. With his injured hand and in the darkness, Flynn feels hopeless, saying they might not be able to escape. Rapunzel recalls her hair glows when she sings, and she begins singing, using the light from her hair to guide them out of the cave. Meanwhile, the witch finds the two thieves and gives them the crown. Then she said, "If you need only the crown, take it and leave." Then she offered, "If you need something more valuable you can join with me." Then the two guys are joined with her. Now, Rapunzel sees all this and begins singing while wrapping Flynn's injured hand with her hair. Because of the magical power in her hair, Flynn's wound heals. Flynn is amazed, so he asks Rapunzel about it. She explains that she's had this power since childhood and that everyone tried to cut her hair to take it. However, when it's cut, it turns brown and loses its power. To illustrate, she shows him a piece of her hair the witch cut when she was little. But Rapunzel still doesn't know that it was the witch who did this. Then Flynn starts sharing his life story. After talking for a while, the fire they made begins to die down, so Flynn goes to gather more firewood. During this moment, the witch arrives. Rapunzel apologizes to her, saying, "I'm sorry, mother." The witch says it's all right and suggests they go back home. As she tries to take her away, Rapunzel tells her life outside the tower is so different. She said Flynn is a good person and she want to see the lanterns. The witch responds, "You still don't understand, dear. He's not with you because he loves you. He's only here because of this." She suggests Rapunzel give Flynn the crown to test his intentions, saying, "If he takes it, you'll understand." She then leaves abruptly. Flynn returns, and Rapunzel, choosing not to give him the crown, acts normally. Meanwhile, the two thieves and the witch are watching them from afar. The next morning, Maximus the horse tracks down Flynn to capture him. Rapunzel intervenes and tells the horse, "Listen to me and stop this right now." Amazingly, the horse listens to her, almost like a puppy. She continues, "Today is my birthday, so please don't fight. Let's see the lanterns first, and then you could do whatever you want." Both Maximus and Flynn agree, albeit reluctantly. They all go to the city together. Due to her long hair, it's hard for Rapunzel to walk normally. Flynn takes Rapunzel on a boat ride into the lake. Meanwhile, the king and queen, heartbroken, send lanterns into the sky in hopes of reaching their daughter. The whole kingdom follows suit, sending up lanterns, creating a beautiful scene that's hard to describe. When Flynn gives Rapunzel a lantern, she tries to give him the crown, but Flynn refuses, saying, "No, you keep it." They then send their lanterns into the sky. As they grow closer, Flynn sees the two thieves lurking nearby. Flynn takes the crown from Rapunzel and approaches the thieves, apologizing and saying, "I'm sorry for deceiving you. Take the crown." But the thieves tell him they don't want the crown. They want Rapunzel he came with. After the scene cuts, Rapunzel sees someone approaching and is excited, thinking that is Flynn, but realizes it's the two thieves. She believes Flynn has abandoned her when she sees a boat leaving, not knowing he's being held captive. As she tries to leave, she hears the witch's voice and finds her there after she's attacked the thieves. Rapunzel now believes the witch's words, thinking the outside world is indeed dangerous. She doesn't know that it was all part of the witch's plan. Trusting her, Rapunzel decides to go back with her. Meanwhile, the soldiers find Flynn tied up in the boat with the crown beside him. Thinking he's a thief, they capture him, and the next morning he is sentenced to execution for his crimes. Distraught, Rapunzel stays in her room, gazing at the royal crest. Suddenly, she notices a symbol of the sun on her drawings that matches the crest on her wall. With that, a childhood memory surfaces for her, and finally, she realizes that the lost princess is actually herself. Now, as they're about to take Flynn to be hanged, he sees those twin thieves nearby. After beating them up, he asks how they found out about Rapunzel, and they reveal that it was the witch who told them everything. Now, realizing that she is the lost princess, Rapunzel confronts the witch. The witch tries to calm her with lies, but Rapunzel, realizing that her entire life was ruined for the sake of the power in her hair, becomes furious and confronts her. Finally, the witch loses her patience, saying, "I warned you nicely, but if you won't listen, I'll be the bad guy." Meanwhile, Flynn is being dragged away to be hanged, but the hotel crowd who came to help him to escape. Then Flynn realized that Maximus did this all. He thanks to Maximus, then they head to the tower where Rapunzel is. After came to the tower, Flynn is calling to her. Rapunzel drops her long hair down from the tower, allowing Flynn to climb up. But as soon as he reaches the top, he's captured, and the witch stabs him with a knife, intending to leave him to die along with the secret they shared. She tries to drag Rapunzel away, but Rapunzel begs her, "Let me save him, and I swear I'll stay with you forever and listen to everything you say." Realizing the sincerity in her voice, the witch reluctantly agrees to let her save Flynn. However, Flynn is completely against Rapunzel making such a sacrifice, arguing that if she stays, she'll be bound to the witch for life. In the midst of their emotional exchange, Flynn suddenly grabs a shard of broken glass and cuts off Rapunzel's hair, which causes her power to disappear. The shocked witch, upon seeing this, screams in agony, ultimately falling from the tower as her magic fails. Thus, the evil witch meets her end. Now, despite Rapunzel's efforts and singing, Flynn doesn't revive. Desperate, she holds him and weeps, with a tear falling onto his wound. Unexpectedly, a bright light begins to heal him, revealing that her healing power wasn't in her hair, but in her heart. Flynn, now healed. After some times, Flynn takes Rapunzel to her real parents, and the king and queen are overwhelmed with joy, finally recognizing her as their daughter. Everyone who helped her also arrives in the kingdom. Their dreams become true, and finally, Rapunzel and Flynn are bound by love. This is where the movie ends. So, Don't forget to share your thoughts about this movie in the comments. Also, don't forget to hit the like button on this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and click the subscribe button below. That way, you won't miss any of my future videos. Alright, goodbye everyone.